Just how bad are the bad guys at going good? Let's talk about the sequel to the wonderful animated film Bad Guys. Hey everyone, it's David Stark from Watcher Pass, and I'm here to talk to you about Bad Guys 2. The Bad Guys 2, it's the sequel to the, I don't know, maybe underrated. I thought it was a fantastic film. I don't know if it got a ton of play, but this is the sequel to that first movie where you have a group of felons who decide that maybe they're going to go good. This follows up and sees if they are able to, plus adds a whole lot of new elements to it. My hot take is I definitely think you should watch it. I really like this film. I thought it was a strong follow-up to a really good first film, but this one kind of does everything bigger. It has beautiful animation, some really, really impressive scenes, a fun cast of characters, some new surprises, and a larger sense of scale overall. I really enjoyed this film. I thought it was a great follow-up. I thought it kind of kept the same type of humor that the first movie had, but added some more elements and added a much larger scale to it. So definitely think you should check out. Definitely think you should see it in theaters. If you've got kids, they're gonna love it. Speaking of kids, you might be wondering, hey, is this movie okay to take my kids to? It's rated PG for animated violence, rude humor, and language. I think it should be fine. I was a little surprised at some of the language. There are not like major curse words, but there is but there is a comment that what someone makes that I thought would be bleeped out from a kids movie, and it does have some rude humor and action sequences as well. So I think it should be fine. Like I took my kids to it, but just be warned, there's a couple like two pieces of language in there that I was a little surprised at for a kids movie. And you might also be wondering, hey, like we're gonna watch this movie. Should we wait until the end? Should we wait after the credits to see if there's anything after? Well, there is a mid-credit scene. You should definitely wait to see that because it does tell a little bit about what the next movie might be about. There's also a stinger at the end of the credits. I wouldn't wait for that. I'll go into it in the recap, but I wouldn't wait for it. It wasn't really worth it. So stay for the mid-credit scene and then head out after that. So all that being said, I'm gonna tell you all about the film. A few things I like, a few things I didn't like, and then really quickly go into a recap. So as you can imagine, there will be spoilers in the recap section. If you don't know what happens in this movie, and you might not, there are some big surprises along the way. I would turn it off when I get to the recap. Before that, though, I'll keep it vague. I'll keep it spoiler free. Let you know when I get to the spoilers. So, in The Bad Guys 2, you have our favorite five felons who are now turning over a new leaf. They're trying to be good. They're trying to, like, get away from their bad guys' ways. But when a new villain, when a new bandit comes into the picture, it seems like maybe they might be forced back, whether they like to or not. So, things I liked about this movie. The animation. It is a gorgeous animation style. It's kind of like a little tiny bit cel shaded. It's got a little bit of a cel shaded look to it, but it is just a very impressive animation style. It's fun. The action sequences feel intense. It looks a little bit comic-y, like comic book-y. And there are some really impressive scenes with some, like lighting and some of the action sequences that just look gorgeous. Second thing I love, it's funny. There's definitely a lot of humor here. Look, when you got Sam Rockwell, Craig Robinson as main characters, you're gonna have some humor in here, but there are some really funny jokes, some really funny sequences. Definitely enough humor here to keep adults and kids entertained. The third thing I love, I kind of mentioned it a couple times, the scale. This is a much larger overall heist. It's a much larger overall effort, and there are some really big sequences here, mostly towards the end. That are just going to kind of like make you feel the size of what is going on. The fourth thing I loved, I like the new members. I like all the cast. Like the cast is fantastic. Sam Rockwell, I adore. I will see anything he's in. Craig Robinson is very funny. All the old cast members are great, but the new cast members do add a like fun new element to it. There is definitely a push or pull here when you've got these two competing groups in there, and they kind of add a lot. They kind of add some more flavor and some more like humor and chaos to it. And the last thing I love the heart. There's definitely, some heart in here as these bad guys are trying to stay good despite everything around them. And so you have some emotional sequences, you've got some big reveals and some big moments. But overall, it is just a really wonderful animated family film. So all that being said, things I didn't love as much, really nothing. It was entertaining. It had a nice pace to it. It didn't seem to overstay its welcome. I definitely think you should check out Bad Guys 2 when it comes to theaters on August 1st, 2025. And if you do check it out, let me know what you think. Let me know what you liked and didn't like. I'd love to hear it. I'm gonna really quickly go into a recap. So if you don't know what happens in this movie, I would turn it off now because there'll be spoilers. So the movie starts with a kind of flashback. It's 5 years ago in Cairo, Egypt. There is a heist where the bad guys steal a one-of-a-kind car from this, I don't really know what he is, businessman, I think, some business person. Maybe he's got a little bit of crime involved in him as well. They steal this car. They do it in extravagant bad guys fashion. And then it fast forwards to present day in Los Angeles. In the flashback, they're driving this expensive motor car, like muscle car, going crazy. Now Wolf is in a beaten down old car. He's going to a job interview. All the bad guys are trying to go to job interviews. They're trying to get work. They're trying to like be good, but they keep having problems because of their past. Wolf applies to a bank. Well, he'd robbed that bank before. They don't want to hire him. So they're not doing well. They're not making it, but they are trying. They're trying really hard. Now, Wolf goes to like a training session with the governor, Governor Foxington, who remember used to be the Crimson Paw, this like great master thief, but she left that life. She became a public servant, and no one knows that she's the Crimson Paw. So she has been advocating for the bad guys. She's been trying to help. They're in a training session, and Wolf is complaining about not being able to get a job. And you're like, dude, why doesn't the governor just give you jobs? Like, I'm sure she has jobs she could give you, like low paying, whatever, like starting jobs. Why doesn't she do it? She doesn't for some reason. I guess maybe she wants the bad guys to do it on their own. Maybe she doesn't want that association. She doesn't want to be seen with them because she's worried that that'll like reveal who she is. Who knows? But eventually, a new criminal starts pulling off heist. This person named the Phantom Bandit, and it seems like that Phantom Bandit is framing the bad guys because they use their signature confetti bomb in some of their heists. So Wolf sees this and he meets up with the chief, who's now the commissioner, but Wolf keeps calling her chief and offers to help. He brings in the rest of the crew to kind of figure out some of the clues from the various heists, and they eventually realize that the criminal is focused on stealing this mineral, this whatever called MacGuffinite. Everything that the criminal has stolen has been famous pieces of MacGuffinite. So they look for whatever the largest new MacGuffinite item is in the city, and we find out it is this belt, this championship belt from this upcoming Lucha event that is happening in like a day or two. So the bad guys decide to help. They decide to go try to stake this out and catch the Phantom Bandit red-handed. But unfortunately, while they are kind of coming to this conclusion, the bad guys, not the chief, they're kind of like talking on their own, they start to suspect Snake because Snake didn't show up to help, didn't, and Snake has had a very active calendar. He's been doing a lot of stuff, and all those times on his calendar line up with different heists. And Snake has also been much happier. He's been very kind of like upbeat, whereas the rest of the bad guys are kind of worn down by trying to find jobs and things like that. So they think maybe Snake is still stealing things. Maybe that's why he's in such a good mood. When they get to the event, they stake it out, and Snake pulls up with someone new, this Raven that he introduces to them. And it turns out that Snake has been dating her. That is why he has been so aloof. That is why he's been so happy recently. They all meet her, but then they focus on the event. And during the event, a lucha match happens, but then a new challenger shows up, this mysterious pig fighter. She is more powerful than everyone else. She's beating everyone else up, and they think that maybe she is a Phantom Bandit. She is here to steal the belt by winning it. Well, I don't know. If she wins the belt, then that seems like that's not stealing. She just gets the belt. But they want to stop her. They want to show that she is a Phantom Bandit. So the bad guys all jump in. They're trying to unmask her so that everyone can see who she is. But right when it seems like they're about to pin her, they look up and the belt is missing. And she says, "Have fun getting out of this one." And then she just disappears. And it turns out that she had placed the belt on Piranha. So Piranha had the belt. Everyone sees the belt's missing. Everyone sees that the bad guys have it, and they start blaming the bad guys. And the bad guys do the only thing they can do is they run. So they all flee from the police who are trying to capture the bad guys. They think that they're now the Phantom Bandits, and they flee with Snake's new girlfriend. She pulls up in like a RV or something like that, and they all head out of there. However, while they're hiding out, she drugs them and kidnaps all of them. And then we are introduced to the real Phantom Bandit, this new person named Kitty Cat, who looks very much like Tai Lung from Kung Fu Panda. It is a like spotted leopard kitty cat. It is female, whereas Tai Lung is male, but the similarities are very, very similar. I wouldn't be surprised if maybe they were related. Maybe they're trying to cross over some of the universes. I don't know. Probably not, but it definitely looked like a like female Tai Lung is the new Super Bandit here. Now, Kitty Cat, it has a crew. She has that pig wrestler named Pigtail, and Snake's girlfriend is a raven called Doom. And so turns out that she was just using Snake to get close to the bad guys so that she could then frame them and then now pull them in for this job. They don't want to do a job. They've all gone good, but Kitty Cat also has some evidence. She has a video of Diane Foxington, the mayor, as Crimson Paw, and she pulls off her mask in this video. It's a surveillance video that she for some reason has, and so she threatens to release this if the bad guys don't help. So the bad guys decide to help, and their goal is to steal a watch from the founder of this space company called Moonex. You can kind of figure out where this is going, but they need they need the watch because that is what will then activate a rocket that Moonex is planning to launch, and they're going to use that for their master plan. Their master plan is to steal a bunch of MacGuffinite, and then MacGuffinite can be used to create a gold magnet. And so they're gonna create this like gold magnet, fly off into space with this gold magnet, and use that magnet from space to pull all the gold from Earth up to them, the biggest heist in all of history. So they are going to steal this watch at the founder of Moonex's wedding. They all have parts to play. They all kind of come together as a crew, including Wolf, who plays an oil tycoon who is using his wealth to try to get some time with the founder and get his watch. Now, while Wolf is doing this, he has a very limited amount of time. So he's trying to get close, trying to get that handshake so he can then pick the watch off. But while he's doing this, that Egyptian person that they stole the car from 5 years ago seems to recognize Wolf. He can't place it, but he goes up trying to ask questions. This causes some confusion. Wolf has to abandon the plane because he doesn't want to get noticed. And it seems like everything is up in smoke. But the bad guys come up with a new plan. Wolf pretends to be the SpaceX founders, the MoonX founders' new bride. He sneaks in there and they find a way to swipe the watch during the wedding. It's a really elaborate scheme. You have to watch it to find out, but it involves lots of moving pieces, lots of subterfuge, and they're able to get the watch. Everyone's excited. They go back, they celebrate. The bad guys were happy to have a successful heist. They kind of make friends with Pigtail and Doom. Wolf is talking to Kitty Cat, and she's like, you should just keep doing this. Like, why would you stop? He's like, yeah, I mean, it's fine, but we've gone good. And so he keeps asking for the footage, of Diane Foxington. Eventually, he gets it, and the crew all try to escape. They try to sneak out of there without the bad girls noticing, but they get caught, they get captured, and they wake up with golden handcuffs, in that factory. And it turns out that Kitty Cat was gonna, double cross them anyways. They all have these golden handcuffs, and they're attached to a MacGuffinite gold magnet that is keeping them suspended. Now, Kitty Cat is going to give them a fair shake. She gives them the button to turn the magnet off, but whenever they turn the magnet off, that footage of Diane starts uploading to a public video site. So they have to kind of gauge, are they going to be able to stop it? Are they going to be able to get away? They try a few times, but they're unsuccessful. Eventually, the footage is uploaded, and they are so distraught that the police come anyways and capture them. Meanwhile, the bad girls have escaped, and they go to take this rocket. Now, during this time, Diane Foxington has been trying to research. She realized that they were all getting MacGuffinite, and so she looks to see who a MacGuffinite expert is, and it turns out it's Dr. Marmalade. So she goes to visit Professor Marmalade in prison. He's there. He is yoked. He looks like he has been using his prison time well. He looks ripped, probably natural. Probably, I mean, I have to be natural, right? I don't know how he gets steroids at this, or supplements at this, very, very isolated prison. But while he's there, he and Diane decide to play a game to get some more information. Eventually, he reveals that MacGuffinite can make a gold magnet, but also that someone else talked to him recently. And so Diane realizes that, they've already got a head start, so she goes to stop the bad girls. Now, the bad girls are going towards that SpaceX rocket, and wouldn't you know it, Diane pops in to stop them. She fights them off, but eventually she gets tranquilized, and the bad girls go into the rocket and get ready to launch. Diane is able to crawl into there and get into the rocket as well, even though she's tranked. The bad guys have been captured by the police. They are getting taken away, but they convince the police, they explain what happened, and the chief at least believes them. And so as this rocket starts to take off, the chief gets a helicopter. She flies the bad guys there, and they jump off the helicopter onto the rocket in this very impressive scene, and then have to climb up the rocket as it's hurtling into space to try to get into it. They're eventually able to get into the rocket as it's going into space, and it separates and heads towards the International Space Station. Now, the rocket docks with the International Space Station. They deploy the gold magnet and start grabbing gold. Now, meanwhile, as the bad guys suit up in spacesuits and try to stop this rocket, they have to detach the magnet and turn it off and everything. There's a few pieces to the scheme, but eventually Snake and Piranha are in one spacesuit, and Piranha gets very nervous during this time, and he starts farting in the spacesuit. causes Snake to kind of like pass out, and they're like floating around in space. And during this time, all this gold debris is coming up because it's getting pulled from Earth. It's like basically gold, like shrapnel essentially, that's going around. One of them hits Snake. Doom, his girlfriend slash fake girlfriend, but seems like she does care about him, sees this, sees them out there, and tells Kitty to turn off the magnet. They don't want anyone to get hurt. And Kitty's like, absolutely not. And Doom's like, it's just a heist. It's just gold. Who cares? And Kitty's like, no. And she like throws both Doom and Pigtail out to go deal with the bad guys while she keeps the magnet going. Now, eventually, Wolf sneaks into this room. They had a couple pieces of the plan, but eventually Wolf sneaks in there and starts fighting Kitty. They fight for a little bit, trying to stop the magnet, and eventually Diane joins in and helps. Uh, they fight for a bit more, and eventually Wolf is able to pick the watch off of Kitty. Kitty's like, "Oh, what are you gonna do with that? Like, I've already won." And that's when Wolf uses the watch to start that rocket, that SpaceX rocket, Moon X rocket, and sends it right through the big, massive gold pile that is attached to the magnet and the magnet itself, taking it all out and stopping Kitty's plans. Now, that destroys that magnet, that destroys their way home, and unfortunately for them, this also destabilizes the space station, and the space station starts to barrel towards Earth. It's plunging. Everyone is panicking. Wolf gives a rousing speech of how they'll figure this out. They're going to survive. Everything will be fine. I don't know if everything will be fine because this is a very expensive space station. Even if they survive, they're going to get blamed for a lot of this. But it's barreling towards Earth. It seems like they're going to survive. And then, boom, next scene, we see a funeral. We see the five bad guys and Diane's pictures. And the chief is crying, giving a eulogy for them. Turns out that the bad guys didn't survive their trip down to Earth, but the bad girls did. The bad girls got captured. They got sent to prison. After the chief's crying eulogy, she goes into her office and then starts laughing. And she's like, I knew it. I knew I could sell it. I knew I could do it. Turns out that there is another plan here. The bad guys and Diane are all presumed dead because they are going to join Isglot, this new spy agency where they're going to be able to use their skills for good now. They're going to be able to use their heist skills, all the things that they are very good at, but now they're going to be fighting the bad guys rather than being the bad guys. Also, I forgot to mention this, Wolf and Foxington are finally dating. After they defeated Kitty, they shared a kiss. Foxington either was worried about Wolf because of how dangerous it was, or she just doesn't care about her public career because it is now ruined because now everyone knows that she's the Crimson Paw. So they are now dating. Everyone is happy. The bad girls are in custody, but it seems like Pigtail and Doom are fine with this. They're doing their community service and seem to be having a good time. Kitty's not doing well. I imagine she will be a villain in the future. But that is the Bad Guys 2. Now, during the credits, there is a mid-credit scene. You see Marmalade, whose gold car got picked up by the gold magnet. It is floating around in space. Marmalade's in it. He seems like he's freaking out for a second, but then he presses a button. It turns into a spaceship, and the gold car flies off into space. And Marmalade says he is going home. So seems like maybe Marmalade is from another planet. Maybe that will be a plot twist in the future. Maybe he will be a new supervillain. Who knows? Maybe Yoked Marmalade and Kitty Cat will team up. Who can say? But that is the mid-credit scene. Now, if you stay all the way to the end, I would not say till the end because it's not worth it. But you do see a brief glimpse of Snake saying something like goodbye, goodbye, or something like that. It is a callback to an earlier scene when he is going to, I think, yoga, and he tells other bad guys goodbye. It's the same basic thing. Not worth staying, but if you do stay for it, that is what you get. But that is the Bad Guys 2. Like I said, definitely check it out. It's a really good animated film. It has a ton of humor, a ton of heart, a really fun cast, and a large sense of scale. If you do see it, let me know what you think. Let me know what you liked and didn't like. I'd love to hear it. And thanks so much for watching. If you like this review, please like and subscribe to this channel. It helps me out a lot. Make sure all my new content goes straight to you. Thank you. I definitely think you should check out Bad Guys 2 when it comes to theaters on, when does it come to theaters? August 1st, I think, right?